Hey everybody, and thanks so much for tuning in to Chat with Trina today. I'm so excited about my beautiful and talented guest, the soul jazz flutist, Miss Althea Rene. Hello, everybody. This is Miss Trina with Chat with Trina, and I'm here with my very special guest, my gorgeous, friendly, classy as always, soul jazz flutist, Althea Rene. Hi.
Hey, Trina.
Thank you so much. You won't know that I jumped around my house when you sent me back so fast and said yes. I was like, you and I must say, Cupid. I reached out to Cupid, and both of y'all made my date on the same day. I was like, oh, they said yes.
Okay.
But thank you so much. Um, as always, I kind of tease my guests and say, what is your government name?
It is actually Althea Rene.
Really?
That's my first and middle name. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And let's see, where are you from originally? Originally.
I'm originally from Detroit, Michigan.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
West
In the
side.
cold,
Yeah.
cold down here. And
Yeah.
where did you, so that's where you grew up and you went to school there too as well?
I did. From elementary through high school,
Okay.
graduated and then went on to Howard University.
You went, I saw that. I was like, she went to Howard University.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Wow, along with so many people that African American, well, I guess it's an African American school, but
Yeah.
so many entertainers come from that era,
Yeah.
that school. That's so neat to me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, so I know we all know your hubby, even in our dance community, Mr. Luther. We
Yeah.
love him.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you, he's the best hype man, the best MC, all of that. So I love it when he's able to come with you to the shows and introduce you. Um,
Yeah, yeah, me too.
and you have a lovely mother that I've met and your sister who are really big supporters.
Absolutely.
Children, I know you have
Two
two,
boys. Yeah,
two, and grandbabies. We saw them yesterday.
yeah. Oh, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
they're getting big 'cause I think one turned
10.
10,
Well,
10.
both of them are 10. They're like a month apart, and
Okay.
yeah, yeah. So I'm getting up there, man.
Have they seen you play?
Most of them, yeah. I have five,
Oh,
and
okay.
three of them have seen me perform. Yeah,
Do
and
any of them have any musical ambitions that you know of?
um, no,
Not
not
really.
really,
Not
not
yet.
really. But
Okay.
they enjoy my first grandson. He gets on stage with me. He likes to come on stage and dance.
Oh, that's cute. That's sweet.
He does that, yeah.
Um, so I already said that I had no idea, but you did study classical music.
Yes, I had a classical scholarship to Howard University,
Okay.
and
Wow.
and majored in theory and
Okay.
yeah, and performance. And so yeah, that's what I did. And I was influenced by a few. I mean, solidly, I was influenced by like Dave Valentine, Hubert Laws,
Okay.
even Najee.
I was just gonna say I read that Najee calls you. I had to do some research on who this person was, but he calls you the Maceo. Is that how you said of the flute?
Oh yeah,
And I
yeah.
had to look up, well, who in the heck is Maceo? And I found out he's a soul jazz saxophonist who worked with James Brown and Parliament Funkadelic.
Right. Don't tell nobody you don't know who Maceo is or Najee.
I know who Najee is. I knew who Najee was. I just
Oh,
didn't know who Maceo was. And
okay.
I was like, I can't come on here and ask her about this if I don't even know who these people are.
Right,
So
right.
I looked it up. So, and I thought so it's Parliament and Funkadelic is what I thought, but apparently it's a dash. But anyway, he worked with them. So I thought that was interesting. And
Yeah.
so he compares you on the flute to him on the sax.
Yeah, because he's, just very funky. Yeah.
That's what, yeah. Because
Yeah.
when I first heard you play the flute, heard you play, it was at Club Divas, back when Club Divas
Uh-huh.
had you. And I was like, my God. And so when I described you, I said, y'all, you wouldn't understand. What she does with that flute, you would not get it. You would, if you had your eyes closed, you would know she's playing a flute. So,
Thank you.
so I'm not sure if everybody knows, guys, but Althea was a deputy sheriff. She talks
Yeah.
about it in her shows, though. So I'm sure some people may know if you've seen her shows for about 10 years.
Yeah.
What made you go into law enforcement?
Well, you know, it was a time in my life where I was just starting out doing clubs, and you know, and I was also doing plays. So I would go on the road with different plays and
Mm-hmm.
play in the pit band.
Okay.
Yeah, and so you were basically just reading. You know, you're down there
Yeah.
reading, and but it just wasn't with two young boys. It just wasn't. I didn't have any medical or you know
Yeah.
anything, and no stability, and so that was the main reason because I was a
You had to
single
take care of
parent
them.
at the time, and I had to get something.
Of course, of
Yeah,
course.
so
Well,
yeah,
I'm sure everybody will relate, and that kind of empowers us to know that what we're doing out here, we gotta do what you gotta do.
got to do what
Um,
you got to do. Yeah.
yeah. So while you were working as a sheriff, you were playing music on the side. What made you take that leap of faith into full-time music?
Well, while I was at the sheriff's department, I took the money that I made from my music and I saved it. And so I took that money after so many months or a year or so, and I took that because I wanted to learn how to produce a CD. And so I basically took all the money I made from music and invested it into my project Chocolate Rush, which was actually my second project. And
Okay.
yeah, so I did that, and I invested in myself, and then I made the leap. I had kind of said when I make the same money that I make at the county,
Uh-huh.
and that would be the time to
Yeah, that
leave.
would be that.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
So that's
Okay.
basically what happened. Yeah.
Okay. Um, did any of your sheriff friends or criminal justice friends, did they know what you did on the side? Did they ever come see you?
They did not really a whole lot though,
Uh-huh.
um, because it's just kind of like these two different worlds, and I wasn't really trying to, you know, have them be together
Exactly.
just because of just they're so different.
Yeah, right,
You
right, right,
know,
right.
they're so different. So I really wasn't mixing my Althea Rene with Officer
With,
McCullers.
okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
So how was that like as a if the funny thing is I talk a lot about um the challenges of women in entertainment, but I bet that was the same thing kind of with law enforcement as well, right?
Well, the thing was is that the difference in the disparity with women in jazz or instrumentalists,
Mm-hmm.
especially at that time. Like now, you see a lot more women who are playing instruments.
Mm-hmm.
But at the time when I was starting out, there wasn't any. I didn't. There was Patrice Rushen.
Mm-hmm.
She was older. There
Mm-hmm.
was I had heard of Bobby Humphrey, but she
Mm-hmm.
was a lot older
Mm-hmm.
as well. And so at the time, the space that I was in,
Mm-hmm.
it was really no one.
Okay.
You know, there was
Women.
Sheila E., but she was with Prince. It was
Yeah.
kind of,
She
you
wasn't
know,
just a solo.
yeah, it wasn't the in jazz and what I was doing. There
Mm-hmm.
really wasn't anyone at that time. So
Oh,
it was definitely a challenge. It was very difficult, and I would equate it to a form of racism, you know, or you know, just
mm-hmm.
um,
Mm-hmm.
women were segregated. If you were singing, it was okay. You know, you were accepted more if you were
Mm-hmm.
singing, but if you were playing
If
an
you were a
instrument,
singer.
yeah, but if you were playing an instrument, there were all these other extra questions, and
Right.
you
Right. Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
people always have to say, "Wow, you're good for a girl," or "I never heard a
Yeah.
girl play like that."
Yeah.
That's kind of not a good thing
Yeah.
for women. It makes you feel like you have to, you can only be good for a girl. You
A girl.
just can't be good. Why can't you
Yeah.
just be good because you're good?
Almost you're pretty to be a dark girl kind of thing.
Exactly, and I
Mm-hmm.
went through that too. So now
Mm-hmm.
we just
Mm-hmm.
laying it on, you know.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. My
Yeah.
daughter is a beautiful darker baby. She always says, the people do not understand, mom, that is rude to say.
It's
So
very rude. It's very,
yeah.
and
So
what do you say? You know, actually, it's just a point that you have to really be focused, and you have to just be on another level of
mm-hmm.
where you want to go, and not listen to anything that's really derogatory or
Mm-hmm.
that that can bring you down. You just have
Definitely.
to have thick skin. Yeah.
And I was just about to say that. So as far as being a woman in this business, you have to have the tough skin, but you also sometimes have to be more assertive, almost aggressive, if you will, to deal with some of the.
You have to know exactly what you'll tolerate, what you won't, exactly what you need for your show.
Mm-hmm.
Because again, when you're touring and that kind of thing, a lot of times people will try to tell you what you need, or
Mm-hmm.
that's just not in the music. That's just in general.
General.
Women in any form of business, when
Mm-hmm.
you have
Mm-hmm.
to deal, a lot of times you have to stand up for yourself, and you have to
Yeah.
say, no, this is how I want it to go. This is
Mm-hmm.
what I
Have
need.
you ever felt uncomfortable, like, let's just say sometimes I've been told that I'm too rough or too, but sometimes you have to be that way. Have you ever felt that you were doing too much because that's what when you had to be the.
I never felt like I was doing too much, because once, if I have to go there,
Mm-hmm.
then you own it and you understand why. And so no, you can't. That when you start second guessing yourself, that's
Mm-hmm.
when people can sense unsurety and
Mm-hmm.
weakness, or whatever
Mm-hmm.
they perceive it as. You don't have to go overboard. You don't have to be nasty to people,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
but certainly you have to know exactly what it is. So you need to think about what it is you want. Now, when you start making demands, but you don't really know what you want, that's look weird.
Yeah. Yeah.
You definitely have to know
Right.
what it is
Right.
you want. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay. Um, so your dad was one of your musical inspirations?
Absolutely. My dad was one of the funk brothers with Motown in the horn
Okay.
section, and played on many early Motown songs that you
Oh,
hear.
wow.
He
Okay.
was, in the horn section, to a point where my mom gets royalty checks still.
Wow. Okay.
So if they
Okay.
do a movie or a commercial, a
Mm-hmm.
lot of songs we didn't even know he played in until she gets a check for it. And we say, wow, I didn't know he played it. So
Well,
yeah,
that must be nice to find.
yeah,
Oh, he
yeah.
played in that. Yeah. Okay. Well, and I think it said that you started at 4, that you started your musical.
I did because, really, Saturday mornings, my dad would play albums and, jazz throughout the house.
Mm-hmm.
And I have two older brothers, and they play instruments as well. And
Okay.
so there were just multiple instruments around the house: organ,
Oh,
trumpet, clarinet, saxophones. And so we would hear music, and after picking up a few things, my sister played flute, and
okay.
but she didn't really care about it. And I asked her one day if I could play it, and she says, I don't care. And that was it. That was
Okay.
it.
I was
And
just about to ask you, how did you gravitate towards the flute? That was it.
that was it, man. When I picked that flute up, you know,
It was
yeah,
your thing.
it was my thing.
Do you play any other instruments as well as the flute? I mean, or close to that?
No, I really didn't. I mean, I write and produce.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So most of the CDs that I have out, I've co-produced or produced.
Okay. Okay.
And I always write as well. All of the songs, or most of the songs that you'll hear that are
Mhm.
originals, I've co-written.
Okay. And on that note, is it true that if that's where, I guess, the money is, per se, if you're doing your writing and you're doing your own producing?
Absolutely,
Mhm.
definitely publishing. So
Publishing.
the writing, the performance, which is when you play on something and they play it on the radio. As in my dad, that's what he's getting, publishing, from because he played on it. So there's pay for that, and there's also pay for if you wrote it and you keep your writers. So
Gotcha.
back in the day, a lot of times record labels would have artists sign away their publishing, and then they wouldn't make any money.
Yeah, yeah.
That's where the money is. So yeah, it's
Because you
helping
see
me
that
to
on all the
survive right
movies. I'm sorry.
now. Exactly. Yeah, if you wrote,
Hmm.
like Dolly Parton wrote I Will Always Love You. So while Whitney could sing it a million times, beautifully,
Hmm.
Dolly was the one making the money.
Making the money. Gosh, yes, that's crazy. I even saw I looked at the Clark sisters movie, which was awesome.
Yes,
But I saw that the sister that wrote off that signed the contracts, which is something you have to
yeah,
always be so careful about.
awful.
Um,
And I have to interject to say that when I was in college, I taught for a summer at the Mattie Moss Conservatory, and I was so terrified of
really,
Mattie
I'm
Moss
sure. I'm sure she was scared.
because I was
She,
really young, and I don't know that it would have mattered how old I was, but I
uh-huh.
was terrified of
I bet.
her. Just
I bet. Yeah, but she made a statement, and she did what she set out to do. So
you talk about determined. Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
she was
yeah.
very determined, and I saw, and I didn't really know the Clark sisters. I mean, I
Hmm.
saw them in passing because they taught at the school as well, even
Okay.
though they were already known as the Clark sisters,
Uh-huh.
but they still was working at the school too.
Gosh, yeah, that's crazy. I had heard of the Clark sisters, but to be truly honest, and I love Unsung. I'm
Yeah,
a biography and an autobiography nut. And
yeah,
so I just like to know, and which is on what we were talking about, is that I've just noticed that every story from back then is where people didn't, they signed these weird contracts. And I mean, like all the way up to, guess the 80s, 90s, they were still getting these
it's still
horrible.
happening.
Yeah.
A lot of the rappers, they sign a deal, and they don't even own anything. Things are
Mhm.
leased for them.
Right.
Videos are done to make it look a certain way, and
And all the money
they're
goes
not.
back into the video.
Well, the money goes back to whoever they signed with or whoever was the sponsor. So, but the way things are now, more and more artists are just, if you already have a following and a fan base, you
Mhm.
you really, can do it on your own.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
it's probably, better to
The
do it.
best thing. Hmm.
Yeah.
Um, so you're described, well, I thought you were described as a soul jazz artist, but then when I read that about Maceo, soul jazz is a genre, correct?
Well, soul jazz was something that I don't know if I pinned it. I had
Hmm.
never heard it before
Hmm.
I started calling myself a soul
Hmm.
jazz
Yeah.
artist. And I started calling myself a soul jazz artist because the smooth jazz kept saying that flute wasn't a smooth jazz instrument.
Instrument.
So they kept saying it's guitars and saxophones, and that
Mm.
flute wasn't smooth jazz. So I said, you know what? It's okay because I'm soul jazz.
Okay. I
Anyway,
just
I'm
make
not
my
I'm
own.
not smooth jazz. I'm
Okay.
soul jazz. And
Yeah.
then it seemed like after that, I
It caught
started
on.
hearing other people use the
Use it.
term. I
Okay.
can't say that I don't have a patent on it,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
I know
yeah.
that I didn't hear it before I
Before.
started using it. Yeah.
Okay. I know that in talking to Dominique one day, he was mentioning to me that they would all with his violin, they tried to put him in a category as well, like that, being that even though he plays a different type of music.
Well, if they don't have a genre for you, then what can you say? You can say contemporary R&B, jazz.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But when you say jazz, that means that you're not singing. For the most
Oh,
part, when you
okay.
play an instrument and you say contemporary or urban
Mm-hmm.
might mean that you're playing more or hip hop jazz,
Mm-hmm.
hip
Mm-hmm.
hop,
Mm-hmm.
soul, or then
Yeah.
that kind of lets you know. That's what lets you know if they say contemporary, that means it's not old standard jazz.
Gotcha.
If they
Gotcha. That
say
makes sense.
urban, it means that it's more young,
Hip hop. Mm-hmm.
younger hip hop
Mm-hmm.
music
Mm-hmm.
done instrumentally. So
Okay.
those are the kind of the terms. But if someone says I'm a purist
Uh-huh.
and I'm a jazz artist and I'm a purist, that means they don't play
Straight jazz.
anything but standard jazz. Yes.
Okay. What turned you from the moved you from the classical into the, you know, the soul jazz? What moved you into that?
Well, just my upbringing, growing up in Detroit.
Yeah,
You know, there's this Detroit swag that, you
yeah,
hear from a lot of artists that came out of Ohio, Detroit,
uh-huh,
a lot of funk and
yeah,
that kind of thing. And so I was really influenced by that. But when I was at Howard and I wanted to be a classical artist, I saw different things and in my playing and things where I just felt like I couldn't stay that rigid.
okay,
Um, and I mean, it takes a lot to just play classically. I
yeah,
mean, the technical, I would practice 6, 7 hours a day, just to
wow,
perform a classical piece because you only had like 2 weeks before you couldn't use music anymore.
oh
You had to
wow,
play it right. And of course, I mean, I love classical, and I'm not saying that by playing jazz that you don't have to practice because it's a
hmm,
whole different set of dynamics that
hmm,
neither one is harder than the other. And I think you really need both. If you have the support where you have that background, then I continue to practice classical music to this day.
oh okay. So I guess I want to say that too to those who are getting into music or still in music. That's something that they need to know, that just because you've made it, you still have to put in that work and put in practice. Am I? Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. Now I do a lot of recording sessions where I play on a lot of different artists'
Mm-hmm.
um, songs and things like that.
Okay.
So I do a lot of recording. I've recorded with a lot of different artists, and I have
Mhm.
a bunch of stuff coming out this year because I guess the lockdown and everything, people are writing and working
Yes.
on material. So I've been recording a lot for other
Okay.
people. Yeah.
Okay. Um, I said that about Maceo already. I love your collaborations. Now that you said it, we'll go into that way. I love your
Yeah.
collaborations. You know, I love you and the Queen. What is her name? Don't tell me. Jeanette
Oh,
Harris. Jeanette
yes.
Harris. Yes.
Yes.
I'm hoping I can get that show one day. Um, and then I love the, what is it called? Walk with Me, Lord. That was awesome with you and
Yes.
Dominique. That was awesome.
Yeah.
I haven't listened to the one you did, one with one other person. Starts with an A, I think.
But Art Sherrod.
Yes, I need to see hear that one. I saw it
Oh
today, but
yeah,
I'm
you
gonna go,
got
yeah.
it. Yeah, you got
Yeah,
to
I'm gonna go
listen
listen to
to
that one.
that.
So is there anyone that you have not collaborated with that you plan or that you want to?
Um, I'm sort of
Good.
you know, my thing is it's not so much that there's somebody that I want to collaborate with. It's,
Mm-hmm.
if there's someone that wants to collaborate with me,
Mm-hmm. Okay. Okay.
because
Yeah.
I enjoy every time I collaborate, there's growth in
Yeah.
the music that you're doing and whatever they're bringing. It's different
Mm-hmm.
genres, and
Mm-hmm.
I've done 4 different tracks in the last 3 weeks
Wow.
for 4 different artists, and I have one out now with Gino Rosario
Okay.
called Road Trip that's getting a lot of play on XM and it's on Billboard and
Okay.
it's doing very well. And
What's it called again?
Road Trip with
Road
Gino
trip.
Rosario. Yes.
Rosario.
Yeah, that's a
Okay.
really nice cut. And really enjoyed playing. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I think I've had recently a little tried to put people together, but you have to realize that everybody's not there. And so me as a promoter, event planner, have to, that's something I had to learn, that there has to be a way of you asking that to bridge together versus, oh, I think this is going to be great. Y'all should play together. I had to learn that just this year, that, that's not always how that's supposed to be. So, but I
Well,
do
the
love
thing
seeing.
is, I mean, artists can, if you do a show with two
Hmm.
artists, more than likely, I mean, anybody that would do a show, you could put them together. But when you start asking them to play together,
Right, right,
then that's where it may,
right, exactly. Like
yeah.
playing, yeah. So that's what something where I had to learn that that's not like that's not something that has to happen. You know what I mean? I'm thinking, oh, you just
No,
automatically know that at the end of the show you're going to play together. I had to learn
no,
that that's
no,
not
no.
customary. So that was a lesson I had to learn. Let's see. So the other thing is, I didn't know, I'd heard Chocolate Barbie, but I didn't know about becoming Chocolate Barbie. Can you tell us a
Okay.
little bit about that book?
Well, I wanted to write a book because of all the experiences that I went through, you know, with the music and being a young woman. It's almost like playing the blues where I was 18 when I decided I wanted to play jazz.
Mm-hmm.
And it did not go over well. You know, my dad didn't want me to do it, but when I would go to clubs and want to sit in or want to be taken seriously, it was almost like what do you know about the blues? You know, like you couldn't be young
And no,
and
I
play
believe.
jazz. You
Yeah.
know, so there was a lot of hard times, you know. And what I wanted to do was write a book that would kind of share my story and my journey, and but also share how I handled it, and you know, in the hopes that women, young women, or
Mm-hmm.
really anyone that's
Mm-hmm.
reading it, but it's more geared towards women in business.
Right.
Ways that of how you can handle different situations that come your way, because it doesn't matter what type of business you're in,
Mm-hmm.
the innuendos and the awkward positions that
Oh,
young
absolutely.
women find themselves in. And then you don't want to offend the person because you don't want to lose the opportunity. But at the same time, um, you know, your morals are being compromised.
Yeah.
Um, and it's a disrespect.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So if you go off, now you're the angry black woman, and he can just tell that story when the real spin is that he was disrespecting you,
Right.
and
Right.
it had nothing to do with your music.
Or your
And
talent
so
or
I
anything.
wrote this book in hopes to help young women navigate. And
Mm-hmm.
yeah, so that's what becoming Chocolate Barbie
Okay. I
was
like that.
really all about. It's like a metaphor for becoming the woman, other than being looked at as a Barbie doll,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
you
Mm-hmm.
know, being
Yeah.
taken serious, and being becoming a businesswoman and becoming who I am now, where people don't
Right.
come at me like that.
Right, exactly. Someone interviewed me and that's what they asked me. They asked me what one of the challenges I had, and that was that, well, what I would tell young women. I said that I would tell them that be careful, because just because someone says, "Hey, I'm gonna give you a club," because they know that you want to own run a club, but they're not looking at your listening to you. They're looking at
Yeah,
all kind of other things that they
exactly.
want. And I had to learn that, like, girl, ain't nobody just gonna give you a club. You have to learn that it's something
Exactly.
else that they're
Yeah.
looking for. So yeah,
Yes.
um,
Yeah.
that's a good lesson to learn.
And
As with
it's
all of our,
available. Wait, and it's available.
oh yeah,
We have it available on my website at althearene.com, and it's you can download it now. So
okay,
you don't
okay,
have to just order the book; you can download it. Yeah.
okay, good. Um, um, I've been just kind of vision that I'm trying to get together, that women talk more about that, because we are still a small. I know we see more women in entertainment, but even with club owners, entertainer, promoters such as myself, and event planners, sometimes it's still what you're talking about with the book. So that's definitely gonna be a read for me. I have too many books to read. I have everybody, all my friends have written a book, so which
Yeah.
is on my bucket list one day.
Right. And the
Um,
other thing is that we want to be involved in shows that aren't saying, "Oh, I want to do a show with all women." You know,
right,
that it should just be a show. I don't
right,
mind
yeah,
doing
yeah.
a show geared towards women, but
Hmm.
that's not all. I can do a show, just a show.
Yeah, right, right. Absolutely, absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. Because I've actually saw you play with, it was you and what's the guy that plays the piano? He played the piano here in Houston. Oh gosh, it was you, him, and I think it was Dean James. I'm not sure, but I haven't seen that guy in a long time that plays the
Oh, Bobby
Bobby
Lyle.
Lyles. Bobby
Yeah.
Lyles, him. That was
Yeah.
him. Um, So, as with all of our other fellow entertainers, musicians, actors, everything else, we're going through this pandemic. So, we've kind of been put on hold for pretty much everything. I know most of us have found some productive ways to spend this time, which is good. And it was good for the reset, I think, for us getting the rest that we need. You guys, definitely. But I was so disappointed, and you probably even more when you had to postpone the jazz getaway.
Oh, yeah.
How did you come to that? Finally, say I have to move it.
Yeah, because this opening up, we're in territory that we have never been in.
Yeah.
And nobody really knows once it opens back up whether we're going to have to shut it back down or where it's going to get to. So asking people to travel and I think for a lot of promoters, from the time we found out about COVID, we weren't selling any tickets. How are we going to pay our entertainers if you're not selling any tickets? And you certainly can't wait till you deem things being back to normal and then still not have,
Right.
So, a lot of shows. I mean, I haven't worked since February 6th.
Wow.
Not one show.
Wow.
Not one show. And this is how I primarily
make your living.
So, and then the other thing for artists is that we're not included in the unemployment.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, there's no unemployment for us. There's nothing. Yeah, I mean, there's literally nothing.
Nothing.
So for artists, I mean, it's tough. Yeah. I mean, for me personally, I'm so glad that I taken the stance to write and to have my publishing, because that's how I'm surviving right now. But it's
a weird time.
Really tough because I just saw, whereas I was working like 2 and 3, I had 2 and 3 shows a week in April alone. I had 10 shows canceled, like within 2 days. And now every month, prior to the next month, my shows are going away. They're being canceled.
Yeah.
So now I'm into July and my shows are canceled.
Yeah. It's scary. Yeah, it's very scary. It's very scary, but it's also people that love you guys and miss you. I mean, I was thinking the other day, I'm good, but and I'm hearing stuff online, but it's nothing like me going to hear people, so your fans are definitely missing you guys. And I know you guys miss the stage, but we miss you, miss you guys out there. Music is like a happy place,
Well, I have this idea, and I want to, if I can't execute it, then I would love to see someone else execute it, and I would love to come and perform. But I really feel that if we could find a drive-in movie theater and do a jazz event or a jazz series, even prior to the movie, where people could drive their cars and still see a show.
Wow, yeah.
I think, but a lot of the movie theaters are gone. They're gone.
My kids were just talking about that yesterday. We had the conversation because they're opening up a new drive-in here, and the people there's a downtown somewhere. There's a drive-in rooftop movie thing.
That's not a drive-in,
right? But no, they opened up though. The owners opened up one though. They're opening up a drive-in theater. Yes. Yeah. So anyway, my kids were saying they think after they laughed about what it really was, but then they were like, that's probably where things are going to go to as far as movies are concerned. Well, it would
be great, but now getting the drive-in owner to say, okay, you can host a show.
Yeah.
So that's the thing. Seeing that vision that people could come in and bring everything, and it could be a concert.
I think that would be fun and definitely different.
It would be different, and I know it would be a success. And that's kind of like the first step of people really getting back out, because I don't know that we'll see the big crowds with the big festivals all packed together for a while.
It'll be a while. It'll definitely be a while. Is that why you just went ahead just the whole year?
Well, yeah, because part of our show was going to be inside of a theater.
Okay.
and
Okay.
and how do you do the 6 feet and the two
Mm-hmm.
rows
Mm-hmm. That's
and
a lot.
the
Yeah.
capacity,
Mm-hmm.
you
And then
know.
how do you monitor that? You're gonna have to be monitoring that people don't
Exactly. If someone
congregate.
has to get up to get out, then the whole row has to step all the way out.
Mm-hmm.
Very
Mm-hmm.
disruptive. So yeah, we had to change some things. I think things, smaller events outdoors will still be
Mm-hmm.
popular.
Mm-hmm.
And those will be and clubs where it's a smaller amount of people in there will be popular as well because it's a smaller crowd. You might have to do 2 shows, but
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
we will figure it out and we
Gonna
will
have to.
be back.
Mm-hmm.
We'll be back. It's just be in a smaller capacity.
So you and your family are kind of handling it, doing, I see you're exercising. That's a good thing. Were you
Yeah,
doing that previously? Was
yeah,
this
I know.
something?
I
Okay.
did last year in August. My husband got me a Peloton because that's what I
Love
wanted.
that.
And I like to spin, and I used to go to
Okay.
the gym to do it. But
Uh-huh.
when I lived in Houston, I had
Uh-huh.
the best teacher ever. And
Oh,
so, but then when I moved to San Antonio, it was
it
like,
was different. I don't want
so,
nobody else.
so now, I spin to my own music
Yeah.
and
But that's what's so funny. When I saw you with yours, I don't know if you knew about the controversy with the commercial.
oh
And I
yeah,
was like, the lady made, they were saying because the guy bought that for her, that was a bad thing. But I was like, but she may have asked it. We as women do ask for those kind of things, for health and wellness. But
what were they saying because she was thin?
they were saying that the husband bought it and that was insulting too. They made him take the commercials down because they were saying that was insulting that the husband would buy her something like that because that should talk to her, lower her self-esteem. And I kept thinking that's crazy because they take it that way too far. I'm like, she may have asked for that expensive machine.
Oh, really? Right. That's like the BMW of
Yes.
spin bikes.
I was okay. Y'all are taking just like with the comedians, they can't say certain things anymore.
Right.
The one of the last things I want to talk to you about is our dance community that you are. We love you. You are definitely a part of that. We always
Oh,
support you.
thank you.
Um, did you enjoy? Do you still enjoy? Did you ever get to? Do y'all ever get to dance? I can't get my words
We
out.
don't. We really don't a
Yeah.
lot. But yeah, it was something that I really enjoyed. And, great exercise again.
Yeah. Yeah.
Great exercise and great people.
Yeah.
And that's the
Yeah.
main thing that
Yeah.
just I miss that fellowship
Yeah.
of of
Yeah.
everybody just being out and just dancing and stuff.
Can
So
you imagine how we're feeling too here? Not just my live music, love for live music, the love for dance, like
right.
it's crazy. So I'm going to come on tomorrow night, to be honest with you. I just thought about it today, is because even though we're in this moment, just like what you're kind of thinking about, I've been thinking about what can we do to start being proactive about how we're gonna come back and dance, Are we
Right.
gonna wear masks while we're dancing? Are we gonna wear gloves? So I'm gonna
Yeah.
do a Facebook Live tomorrow night and get people to come on and just let's talk about that because we do, because when they decide to open up the world, which right now is too soon, but when they do,
Well, they are. They're in phase 2.
yeah, yeah.
There's only
So
one more phase, and that's
and then we
that's
and we
it.
open. And the thing about it is, we should start thinking about that because we know we want to dance, but we've got to be safe to do it. And that's all I've been telling people that. Like when I went to the beauty supply the other day, and I like that they had you can't come in without a mask. I
Okay.
like when people are taking precautions. I'm a little bit
Exactly.
more
Yeah.
okay with that. But I
Yeah.
don't like seeing the beaches full of people, no masks, no clothes, and they're just all over the place. But
Yeah.
so my point is I'm going to pose those questions, and not just for dancers. I'm gonna open it up for people dance, our music community, just anyone. What are we gonna ask the club owners to provide for us? We
Yeah.
need them to have the machines with the sterile.
Yeah. And I
Yeah.
think we're basically just going to have to do that. I think maybe wearing gloves when you go out to dance,
Hmm.
and maybe even a cute mask.
And that's what I said. We can make it a fashion statement. It's not.
Yeah, you don't have to make it so sterile, but
Yeah,
I
yeah,
think that would be a good thing because I know in some cities they are struggling. They're
yeah.
losing a lot of people
Yeah,
in the dance
definitely. It's
community.
really sad. It's sad, scary, and just in a place that Yeah, I work for HISD and I sent out a little survey to my students to ask them how they were doing. And there's sixth, seventh, and eighth graders. And one of them just broke my heart that just says, will we ever be able to see our friends again? Will
Yeah,
we ever get to go back to school again? You know, and
yeah,
it
yeah.
just kind of broke my heart because we say yes, and of course the next question is gonna be when, and it's don't know.
Yeah,
So
we've all just had everything just snatched away from us. Our lives just literally snatched away, and it hasn't happened in 100 years. 100 years was the last time that the Spanish flu was the last thing that
mm,
shut the world down, you know, like
yeah,
this.
yeah,
So, um, yeah, this is definitely something that, I've gone through all of the different feelings
yeah.
that you can have where first it was just about me and losing
Mm-hmm.
all of my shows
Mm-hmm.
and then it became, all of the friends that were losing their battling it.
Yeah. Yeah.
More people than I can count that
Mm-hmm.
I know that
Wow.
had it, have died,
Mm-hmm.
or are recovering.
Right.
So it's real, it's
Yes.
definitely
And
real.
that's what I want people to understand. I'm not trying to, I've tried to not say much more publicly, but I just want people to understand how my half sister, she got it. She was only 20, she is only 23, 24. She overcame it, but that's just scary because my dad is older.
Yeah.
So he had to be tested because he had been around her. So that's the scary part for me. Young, yeah, you'll probably get past it, but my daddy being 71, I think. I
Hmm.
haven't seen him. I haven't been around mom. I saw my mom yesterday, but I just didn't get close to her because we want to
Yeah.
don't pass
Yeah.
it to her. So, one last thing, what do you want to say to encourage the music world right now? What would you say to encourage them?
I would say to continue to, which I'm seeing a lot of, continue to work on your craft and create and use this time to um, find out what other talents you have and how you may want to use them. It may open up some other doors that, so it's kind of this thing of while you're practicing and getting ready for us to get back to our new normal, also, look deep into yourself and find out what other talents you may have as well.
Right. Even
And
those little things that you may have always wanted to do. This is a time to, yeah,
do
yeah.
it. Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
Well, I thank you so much. This was a cool talk. I learned a lot more about you.
Yeah.
I thank you for always. I don't think you've ever told me no for anything. Yes, I don't know why I was scared. I appreciate all that you do. I appreciate your music and your passion for music and your love for helping the entertainment venues. I thank you for that.
Yeah.
Well, you guys take care,
All
and we
right.
will see you soon. We will see you soon.
Absolutely.
All righty.
Absolutely. Thank you, Trina.
Goodbye, Althea.
All
Bye.
right. Bye.
Thank you again, Althea, for agreeing to sit and chat with me today. It was awesome. Guys, don't forget to go to althearene.com and order your online copy of Becoming the Chocolate Barbie, a guide for professional women in the music business. I ordered mine yesterday. Thank you guys so much for making the choice to click in and watch Chat with Trina. Remember to go to my YouTube page, click subscribe, and click that bell so you can be notified of any new videos that I upload. Have a wonderful evening.